Okay, Dave and Keith back here to break down the Solo preview that came out this morning / last night. Before we get anything started, please, if you like what you've seen from our other videos, and if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit like, and hit the little bell that lets you know when we've made a video so you can watch it. All right, let's get to the video.
I've been running scams on the street since I was 10. I was kicked out of the flight academy for having a mind of my own. I'm gonna be a pilot. Best in the galaxy.
Okay, in this first scene, we see Han Solo driving a speeder with Kira, which is Amelia Clark's character. He's kind of giving his backstory, talking about running scams on the street since I was 10, kicked out of the flight academy for having a mind of my own. I'm going to be a pilot, the best in the galaxy. So I don't know if they're going to delve into his history in this movie or just kind of do that, sort of talk about it and leave that sort of air of mystery about getting kicked out of the flight academy. Then we kind of see what looks to be Mimban from the Splinter of the Mind's Eye novel, which they've talked about being in this film, and it kind of has a huge black market, so maybe he's there with the Imperials, kind of keeping an eye on things, getting their share of the money, when that's maybe when he sees Chewbacca as a slave and decides he has to do something, frees him, and that's when his break is from the Imperials.
Yeah, he starts a smuggling career. And
Hey, kid. I'm putting together a crew. You in?
That's yes.
Okay, in the second clip, we see Tobias Beckett, that's Woody Harrelson's character. They say he's a criminal and Han's mentor. Says he's putting a crew together. And we notice on the first scene, it's kind of, looks like it's on Corellia, kind of an ocean front, no Chewbacca. And then on the second one, we see it's kind of snow-capped, and Chewbacca's there. So, some fancy editing, make it look like it's the same. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if one is pre-Han going to the Imperial Academy, he's working with him, and then the other one is later on after he frees him and he's on a run. Maybe he goes back to him. We also see Lando, looks to be at a Sabbath table, perhaps. Could be the scene where he loses the Millennium Falcon to Han Solo. We see Kira again with her droid. She's all dressed up in fancy looking, looks like Imperial clothes, so maybe she's undercover, or even she's still a part of the Imperial Navy. She, like Han, may have been a part of it, got kicked out when he did, or got kicked out for something else. Mm-hmm. There were some rumors that she's going to be someone who knew him pre-Imperial Navy back in Corellia, so that's always a possibility. We also see Thandie Newton's character, who we don't know whose the name is. She looked pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Then we see L337, which is Kira's droid. And then at the end of that scene, we see something kind of cool. Well, maybe not cool, but we see Lando piloting the Millennium Falcon and Han sitting in the back seat.
Yeah, there was a few things I saw in that. Just to hit it on the plot points when we get to them. I don't know about you, but I think all movies seem to, ever since the Avengers came together, they seem to be like putting together a team. It seems to be, is this something that they felt like they had to do? I mean,
I don't think that. I think they're trying to make it kind of a heist movie, because I think Tobias Beckett is putting together these people to rob or smuggle, do something. Maybe it puts them at odds. Which in the next scene we'll see kind of who's the enemy in this film. Maybe steal from them, kind of like a big sort of mafia type, even though it's not the mafia, but kind of an organized crime type thing, yeah. Or just a group that does this, and maybe they're planning on stealing from them, so they need people, like in Ocean's 11, something like that.
Something to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And the other thing I had about this clip was the robot at the end. You mentioned what was
L337.
Okay, and that and my only concern was that Han hates droids. He just hates them, and he's next to one, and in the Millennium Falcon, in the co-pilot seat.
I'm sure he'll mention how much he hates droids.
Maybe that's where he determines he hates droids.
Oh, that could be. That could be
Yeah.
part of the story. Why?
You know?
Why he hates droids.
Yeah.
I might be the only person. Who knows what you really are?
What's that?
Okay, in this next scene, we kind of hear Kira voicing over to Han that she knows who he is. We also kind of see Han Solo pulling a blaster. Looks like an old Western where he's kind of doing the draw. And Ron Howard has said that this movie is going to be like a space Western, so it kind of fits that tone. We also see that sort of group that it looks like the enemies, the enemy boss, who, thanks to Lego Solo sets, we know is Moloch. And he kind of has that really tribal vibe with this thing. And his helmet, to me, looks like Darth Revan, who, if those of you who have played the Knights of the Old Republic game will recognize it. I don't know if they have some reference to Darth Revan, and that's why the helmet's like that. That would be a very cool little Easter egg in that film, so I hope it comes true. We also know that Boba Fett is going to be in this movie. Is he a part of this group? And that's his first run-in with Han Solo. Once again, I looked for him in that group shot. He's not anywhere there that I could see. So maybe in a future trailer we'll see him or something else. And then we also see in this scene, we kind of see a ship escaping Corellia with a large explosion going on behind it. So is this the job that Tobias is setting up the crew to do? Is he telling them it's something, and then we find out it's something bigger than that, gets Imperial attention along with that enemy group, so they're on the run from both? You know, is it something that Tobias is doing for the rebellion, early on in the rebellion? And he doesn't tell the group that, but they find out later. They feel double-crossed, but maybe come back to him later. There's really a lot they can do with this, and we'll find out. And then I kind of like the scene at the end when she says, you know, and I know what you are. And he's like, really? What's that? And he kind of has that cocky grin, but it kind of fades. Like, he's still young, and he's not as confident as he is when you see him later on in A New Hope and everything else.
Like, oh, she has figured me out. She knows who I am, you know?
Absolutely.
Get ready.
Thought we were in trouble there for a second, but it's fine. We're fine.
Okay, and in the final scene we see here, we see the Millennium Falcon being piloted by Han Solo, running from an Imperial Star Destroyer and some TIE fighters. And
That's a neat little flip he does to knock the TIE fighter
It
into
is.
the ship.
kind of shows his cool flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it looks like he's probably leaving Mimban. Kind of known for these storms.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm watching it, you know, maybe the Imperials are hunting them after this heist, or when he freed Chewie, even though I don't see necessarily Chewie sitting there. But it also could be, and I was thinking about this, it could be when he makes the Kessel run.
Oh.
Maybe he's on his way to Kessel, and this is when he does it in 11 parsecs, sets the record.
I think it's 12
because he's on the
parsecs.
run. Is it 12?
Yeah, I think it is.
It probably is. And then at the end, when he after he knocks that TIE fighter, he's pretty much, hey, we're okay. Yeah, we're good now.
Yeah, he's getting his cockiness there.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the scene in Empire Strikes Back when they're in, or New Hope, I mean, when they're in the prison thing, and they're like, is everything okay there? Yeah, well, we're fine.
How are you?
We're
And that little scene at the end, I just mentioned to you before we start recording, was when he's flying through the teeth there. It looked like a giant space octopus. It kind of sets up what he does in The Empire Strikes Back. And, yeah, that's why he's so calm when he's flying out of that. It looked like a whale in The Empire Strikes Back. He's just like, it's not a cave. And he just flies out, no problem.
yeah, it's they're probably like, wow, he must be flying out of monsters all the time.
You don't land in monsters. You shouldn't do that.
No, that's bad.
Yeah.
And everyone says never land in monsters.
Okay, overall, I haven't heard too much about this movie, either way until this preview. I knew it was coming out, and I don't have high expectations for it, and maybe that'll be a good thing. Maybe when it comes out, it'll surprise me and be good. I'm a little worried about the actor. I think his name is Aldous. Aldous? I don't know his last name, but he's in a little bit of a quandary because Harrison Ford was Han Solo. I don't even think he had to act. He was so good at it. He was just like boom, Han Solo. But this guy, now is he going to try and act like Harrison Ford being Han Solo? Or is he going to try and put a new spin on the character in his own way and still come up with that same cockiness? It's going to be a difficult thing for him to pull off.
It's definitely a difficult thing because he's such an iconic character. Harrison Ford is Han Solo, so it's going to be difficult. But he seems at ease in this film. You know, I actually, after watching it, I have a little more anticipation for this movie because I was getting worried it's coming out in a few months. We haven't seen anything on it. Now we've actually seen some footage. It looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it looks like the change from the first directors to Ron Howard with all the reshoots is all coming together. So it's probably not going to be the best movie that ever came out, but it looks like they got it under wraps, and we should get a good Star Wars film out in May.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a big blockbuster. I think it'll be like Rogue One type, maybe not even as big as Rogue One, but I like how they're doing offside stories with the current trilogy probably being the end of trilogies. I would imagine for a while. That's my opinion because of I don't want to get into the trilogy. So, but the side movies.
Yeah, you know what? This one, it felt to me a lot, had a lot of tone like Rogue One. So, you know, I know that each of these are their own, but this kind of felt a little like Rogue One, so maybe the next one they're going to branch off, do things a little differently.
And there's not a whole lot of Force in this one. You know, there's no Jedi, you don't see any Jedi, and that's kind of cool to keep your universe going without, you know, having to have that ingrained in the movie, I guess.